Thank you, Senator. Senator Kim.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Dr. Myron, I wanted to just pick up on something that you said earlier. So if I heard you correctly, if you are confirmed to this, you are not going to resign from your current position at the White House?
Thank you, Senator. I have been advised by counsel that the legal approach is to take a unpaid leave of absence from the Council of Economic Advisors, cease my CE activities, and if counsel advises me otherwise, I will follow the law and follow counsel's advice.
I guess I just wanted to ask you, why did counsel advise you in that way? You have every right to just say, no, I'm going to resign.
Well, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't answer why they advised me that way. But
you can determine your own career. You know that, right?
No, yes, I know that. And
yeah.
And
so you want to go back to the Council on Economic Advisors after this term. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know what will happen. You know, the term for which I've been nominated is 4.5 months. If I am nominated and confirmed for a longer term than just a handful of months, I would absolutely resign.
So I guess, you tried to excuse this by saying that this is because, the whole package of reforms wasn't adopted. But I guess I just want to read your own words back to you. You said short-circuiting the revolving door between the Fed and the executive branch is critical to reducing the incentives for officials to act in the short-term political interest of the president. Do you still agree with that statement?
Thank you, Senator. As I said before, I believe that reform of the Fed has to be...
I get that. I understand your excuse on that front, but do you agree with the statement I just read back to you?
I think that considerations like that need to be taken in context of an overall package of reforms and not looked at in isolation.
Okay. Well, look, I think that this very clearly shows that the reason we don't want actions like what is happening before us is because you could very well be continuing to act in a way that is in the political interest of the president because he is going to be your future boss again at the White House. And so it's one of those things where, like, I'm just trying to think about, why do you even want this job at the Fed for 4 months if you're just hedging your bets and just continuing to hold your position at the White House? I want to just continue on a little bit here because you said something I wanted to dig into. You said excessive control by elected political actors, parentheses, like the president, interferes in good policy and results in bad economic outcomes. Is that something you said?
Senator, I believe that political interference in monetary policy and making decisions, sort of can erode the outcomes, and that it's important for the Federal Reserve to be insulated from the political cycle.
Okay, insulated from the political cycle. And here you said excessive control. What is excessive control?
Well, I don't have a precise formal definition of that in my head, Senator.
Okay, well, I guess maybe I'll walk you through a couple of things here. You were saying that you'd like to clarify that members serve at the will of the U.S. president.
Senator, I believe that members can be removed for cause. I believe the Federal Reserve Act specifies that members can be removed for cause after they've been...
I know, I'm just looking at your list of reforms that you like, and it sounded like you said clarify that the members serve at the will of the president. I guess I wanted to just ask you, would it be appropriate for a new president to come in, get rid of everybody on the board, and put in entirely new appointments at the beginning of each presidency? Is that appropriate?
You're referring to the reform proposal, not to current law.
I'm referring to your beliefs, yes.
Well, so as I said before, the reform proposal was a package deal with a series of checks and balances, and that was one check, but there's offset by other balances and other checks that would diffuse power throughout the Federal Reserve System. That's why we refer to it as a form of monetary federalism.
You also said, quote, political independence is inherently undemocratic. Can you explain that to me?
Yes. So if you had a Federal Reserve that was entirely, completely independent, with no ability for the president to appoint officials, no ability for the Senate to provide its advice and consent, no ability for the Senate to hold hearings where they receive answers to their questions by Federal Reserve officials, I think that would be profoundly undemocratic. And I think it's important that we have democratic oversight, as an example, when the Senate holds its hearings, getting testimony from Federal Reserve officials.
One final question here. Has anyone in the administration asked you to commit formally or informally to vote to lowering interest rates?
No.
With that, I yield back.